This is Robert Rauschenberg, one of the forerunners of pop art. Rauschenberg produces collages and assemblages in which everyday objects are combined into inventive aesthetic arrangements. He once said that he works in the gap between art and life, and this description still seems valid in 1983, when on New Year's Eve he theatrically unveiled ambitious new works that were inspired and executed during a recent trip to Japan and China. This is Dirt Shrine South. It is a clay piece which Rauschenberg produced during a 4-week stay at the Usuka Omi Ceramic Company in Japan. Clay shaped like a rock lies on the floor, linked by a ceramic chain to the main part of the work, which is covered with images that have been silk-screened on with ceramic glazes. Rauschenberg's open assemblage style allows him to incorporate any image, and in these ceramic works he primarily uses motifs from the Japanese environment. His choices are determined by his own diverse sensibility. In the past, Rauschenberg has been interested in ladders, one of the most basic human inventions, and in this piece he includes a Japanese bamboo ladder. In the center is a rounded clay slab inspired by his visit to the Osaka castle, while to the left he finds inspiration in the clay medium itself. Clay can be torn, it can preserve the texture of a tire track, and a hole can be punched through it. It is an inventive use of the material, especially remarkable since this is Rauschenberg's first major foray into clay. Certainly the pieces would not have been possible without the help of the Atsuka Oni Ceramic Company, which enthusiastically opened its doors to Rauschenberg and provided him access to its staff and advanced technology. This included an unprecedented firing process which will allow these works to survive 3,000 years. Rauschenberg has long been popular in Japan, and his working visit to the factory was a major event. It was videotaped by local television and also by Fujiko Nakaya, who has provided Art New York with this footage showing the factory workers applying the photo silk screens to the clay slabs. Working in a foreign country at a unique local industrial facility was a challenging experience for Rauschenberg, which has helped him to broaden the scope of his art. He now plans to make similar working visits to 20 other foreign countries, where he will produce new pieces using indigenous images and materials. This clay piece is entitled Gate South. Rauschenberg includes protruding slabs which are connected with hinges and held up by ceramic imitations of bamboo poles. Bamboo can be found in America, but it is far more common in Japan, and it was during his visit to the Far East that Rauschenberg first began to appreciate this distinct material. Rauschenberg believes that almost anything can be aesthetically interesting, and he consciously tries to expand his horizon. He has roamed Japan with his camera, often focusing on common everyday motifs usually overlooked by tourists and local residents alike. In other sections, we are challenged visually by the way he abstracts and overlaps the silk-screened images. Rauschenberg shows us that visual confusion can be as interesting as visual clarity. Here we see a pile of garbage, dense in design and rich in details. This picture was taken in America, and if we look real closely, there is even a McDonald's hamburger wrapper. We asked Rauschenberg about this.
This was an exchange project where I would bring images from Florida and New York and America and Charleston and Georgia, you know, and then take photographs in Japan and then mix them.
Yeah.
And I did that.
You had originally, what, a Japanese audience or an American audience in mind in those pieces?
Neither, I think.
Neither? Just,
yeah.
just your own inclination?
Well, I have, I think rather heroically about the fact that entire nations could get along if they had enough art in common.
Oh,
And so this was another attempt at that, and I think it worked.
in another series of ceramic pieces, Rauschenberg uses images from Western art, such as this Courbet painting of a lesbian couple. Surprisingly, Rauschenberg found these silkscreens of European masterpieces at the ceramic factory, where they had been used in an earlier commercial project. He transforms the images by cutting them up and combining them with Eastern motifs. The sensuality of Courbet's image is enhanced by the bright, rich colors that result from the ceramic glazes. Rauschenberg has been appropriating old works of art as imagery for his collages since the middle 1950s, and here he does variations on the ubiquitous Mona Lisa. It is ironic that these reworked images, produced in clay in Japan, will survive 3,000 years and long outlast Leonardo's original. Rauschenberg's tour of the Far East also included a 5-week working visit to the People's Republic of China, that vast tract of populated land that has only recently been opened up to visitors from the West. This video footage was taken at the Great Wall by Terry Van Brunt, a member of the entourage that accompanied Rauschenberg on a semi-official tour. In China, Rauschenberg made photographs, often using a telephoto lens. He scavenged his way through China's visually rich past and present. When he returned to America, selected images were blown up and montaged in a remarkable 100-foot-long continuous photo scroll that was exhibited at the Castelli Gallery. Typically, Rauschenberg gravitates to simple, everyday scenes not usually photographed by others. This picture records mass-produced copies of traditional Chinese art. It shows Rauschenberg's interest in popular culture, whether it is encountered in a capitalist or a communist country. In an upcoming photograph, Rauschenberg records what is unmistakably a Chinese subway map. And in this picture, he spots a pile of abandoned tables and chairs. The photographic scroll is also remarkable for its ornate backing, which consists of cloth that Rauschenberg collected in China. There are colorfully designed handkerchiefs, which again exemplify Rauschenberg's taste in mass-produced popular kitsch. In other sections of the backing, Rauschenberg works abstractly, cutting and collaging circular shapes from 2 pieces of patterned cloth. In Terry Van Brunt's video footage, Rauschenberg takes an ornate piece of scavenged cloth and cuts it into circular forms. These pieces were not used for the scroll, but rather for a series of mixed media collages that Rauschenberg produced during a 4-week stay at a paper mill in the Yellow Mountains of Anhui Province. The series is entitled 7 Characters, and at the Castelli Gallery, a collage from each of the editions was exhibited. The individual pieces have titles such as Truth, Light, and Individual. Each of these titles stems from the embossed Chinese character that is so conspicuous in these unique mixed media works. What was it like for an avant-garde Western artist to work in China? When we visited Rauschenberg at his New York studio, he talked about his China experience.
I would suppose that my work would be difficult for them, but I wouldn't know for which of these reasons. One is that my work tends to have the lushness of rejected aristocratic society. Or could it be considered proof of capitalistic waste?
No. In that
Or would they think that nearly anything can be used in an art process to become art?
Yeah. And so these are the ways you thought they might respond.
Right.
And
right. And actually, all they were interested in is how many meals I skipped, and the fact that I worked too late.
Right. Well, they learned that artists have it better in China than in New York.